Okay, everybody, time for your vocabulary word epigenetics. So, we got to look at this vocabulary word because the illness we're going to look at later on applies to this. So, epigenetics is the study of heritable changes in gene expression that are caused by factors such as DNA methylation rather than by a change in the DNA sequence. So, what that means is outside of the DNA, the environment, the food we eat, the state of our immune system, how much stress we're going through, the state of our hormones, and other things affects the way that our cells replicate. Epigenetics, epi means outside of or on top of. So in our body, we can create cancer cells, we can create mutated cells. Many people think that if you have a sickness that is genetic, then it's just written in stone and you just are going to get that disease no matter what. However, that's not true. Epigenetics are very important. And in today's video, we're going to look at pregnant women. Epigenetics is important when we talk about pregnant women because they're building a new human inside their body. And that human can be born sick, and then that human can have a terrible life, and then the life of the people around that human can have sadness and grief too. So epigenetics is very important for pregnant women for many reasons. Here's another simpler definition of epigenetics. Your genes play an important role in your health, but so do your behaviors and environment, such as what you eat and how physically active you are. Epigenetics is the study of how your behavior and environment can cause changes that affect the way your genes work. So I'll put this in the description, a link so you can read it. Okay, so now I want to share with you something called childhood Alzheimer's. They also call it Sanfilippo syndrome. And I am curious if the epigenetics of the mother can affect these kids that have this. I theorize that when the mom is pregnant, the mom is consuming lots of pet dander, lots of scales off of these dogs with allergies. And I also think that the kid, as it is developing after it's born, is also consuming feces particles and animal hair and other things like that, possibly causing this type of genetic mutation. So, why would I develop that theory? Because as I investigate this sickness, I notice that all of these families are chock full of dogs and they are quote unquote dog lovers, such as this case right here. So these are twin boys. One boy was healthy, one boy got the childhood Alzheimer's. And we know that pet dander can cause ear infections and respiratory problems. And so notice this.
Father was just talking. He ended up having respiratory infections, chronic respiratory infections, and chronic ear infections. And he was also
Okay, so how come he got these infections? Is there a chance he was getting lots of pet dander, pet urine particles into the microbiome of his ear? I'm going to say it was very likely. They are constantly putting this kid up on the bedding with the dog and allowing the dog to lick his face, the dog paws up on the kid. In the picture I opened up this video with, you could see the dog's face was right in the butt of these dogs. So these feces and dander particles are getting into this kid's nose and his bedding and everywhere else. And that can cause respiratory and ear infections. They allow the boy to share a chew toy with the dog.
Sure will be shared online.
I will continue to.
So without a doubt, this kid is getting dog saliva, dog dander inside of his body. And that's not good because, as they say, he is at already a high risk for respiratory problems with this illness, and adding pet dander to his lungs is not good for him. When you have childhood Alzheimer's, you're at a high risk for respiratory problems.
And that includes the lungs. They are immunocompromised. So catching a respiratory virus can be very dangerous for these kids in that stage of the disease.
Okay, so then why are you putting dog excrement dispensers up in his face? He's already immunocompromised. Now you're making his body consume dead protein particles off of an animal that does not belong in his bed. They are constantly putting this kid in a bed with a dog. So that is why I theorized the mother, while she was pregnant with these two twins, was probably constantly bending over to serve these dogs, picking up dog poop, bending over to feed and water these dogs, and putting her babies at a compromise. Because when you bend over when you're pregnant, that squeezes the baby inside of their little chamber. It decreases the internal volume of the chamber that the babies live in. And the mom was probably also consuming the dander and piss and shit particles and eye boogers that come off of this dog and get wiped all over this kid's clothing. So the mom was probably interacting with dogs very heavily, and that causes an epigenetic force on the mom while she's pregnant with kids. So now let's look at some things from society. We know that when you're pregnant, you're supposed to sleep in certain positions that make you comfortable and your baby comfortable. If that mom was sleeping with dogs, then she would have to toss and turn, move around, pet the dog, put the dog in position for pictures, and that would not be good for the baby. But our current society promotes constantly putting dogs with pregnant women. These type of videos get millions of views. They allow the pit bull dog and other dogs to jump on the pregnant mom, bump the pregnant mom with their big blocky brick head, and that baby is in there. See her posture, the twisted posture that she has right here in this video? That's not good for the baby. The weight of the dog on top of the baby is not good. The making this special sleep position that this mom is doing right here, that's not good. The baby is in there trying to build his organs, build his brain, trying to assemble his genetic pieces and make cells and tissues, and you're putting all that effort into a dog. With so much information out there, such as this video here and hundreds of other ones, as well as published articles about importance of sleep position for the pregnant mom, why does our society promote dogs in the bed all the time? Why do we allow things like this? The dog stops the boyfriend from touching the pregnant belly. So these two people put the dog between them and allow a bunch of rambunctious BS to happen, and then they film it. This mom is twisting her body all around to accommodate this dog. I'll put the link in the description. I'm not going to bother showing you too much of it. But it's putting the baby at a risk. It's allowing this big dog to bump into the mom. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to walk up to the pregnant mom and go bump, bump, boom, boom on her baby bump. More of this all over society. Big, slobbery, poop dispensing dogs up in the bed with the pregnant mom. And you know those dogs, if they hear a car drive by, if someone pops open a Tupperware container, they're going to be jumping and bouncing all over on top of the pregnant mom. They don't just sit there and chill out. Now, if you take the time to get past most of the dog propaganda, the truth is actually out there, and there are published studies. Is it unhealthy to sleep with your dog? Yes, it is. Dogs are mammals and naturally inclined to sleep in close proximity to their owner. But these problems, it can increase your chances of getting sick, getting bitten, getting respiratory problems, developing heart problems, developing obesity or diabetes. The likelihood that your dog will develop separation anxiety. Oh yeah, I've experienced that one myself. A couple of my friends that have dogs, sometimes I'll invite them to go somewhere like on a road drive, and they will say, oh no, we can't go on that hike. Our dog has separation anxiety. And then I go look at their Facebook, and they coddle their dog all the time. The dog is in the bed. The dog sits up on the table. They're constantly babying their dog, and their dog develops separation anxiety, and then the owners develop it too. Oh, we can't go anywhere this weekend because we can't find a sitter for our dog, and our dog has separation anxiety. Yep, that's what happens. And there's lots of other things from dogs that are not good for your baby. And isn't it funny that the way that they word this, they will say, "Can dog pee hurt my baby?" They're kind of dancing around the problem. But yeah, dog pee can hurt your baby. The main concern is bacterial contamination. So I guess urine doesn't have bacteria because they say up here that it's inconclusive. So they're telling you the truth, but they always have to throw in that dog propaganda. Does dog hair affect pregnancy? Yes. Even though it's going to say there's conflicting information. Of course, because we live in a dog-loving society, exposure to animal hair can increase the risk of miscarriage. Notice it's recommended to wear gloves while handling a dog if you're pregnant. Because, look at this. Exposure to animal DNA or saliva. If that gets down in your stomach, it affects your epigenetics. It affects the microbiome in your stomach. Those DNA particles, that screws around with your body. And this isn't even just like a conspiracy theory or anything. They can even tell what kind of dog you own by looking at your excrement. They can tell what type of dogs live in your house because dog DNA survives your digestive system. And dog DNA should not be having to be dealt with by your body, especially when you're pregnant. I really like number 3. If you decide to handle a dog, make sure you do so from a distance and with caution. Yeah, definitely. Now, if you do just like an average internet search and don't look around too much, this is what you will find. Can I walk a dog while I'm pregnant? They're going to tell you basically, yeah, but just consult your healthcare provider. If it's so safe, why would I need to consult my healthcare provider? But let me show you some of the images they use when they say it's okay to walk your dog while pregnant. This woman is doing what's called a deep twist. If you were doing yoga, this would be called something like a deep twist. Your head is out of angle with your body and you're cranking over, and the baby in there is having the internal volume decreased. So the oxygen, the blood supply, the nutrients the baby is getting, and the stress on the baby's skeleton and little brain is high. You're basically taking the baby and saying, hey, I'm just going to squish you. I'm just going to be like, because you want to look at a dog. Oh, I got to get a picture of myself with my poop dispenser dog. Let me crank my body and hurt my little kid. So this would be what that woman would see if she just did an average look around. And her doctors would not tell her about this either. These are the pictures of the women with dogs. See the way she is right here? Her knees are right here, but her body is off to the side. That's also bad for the baby. You're taking the chamber that baby lives in and going like this, adjusting it the wrong way, just so you can be around your pup or doggo. And another thing you might notice if you read this one, they don't really tell you to take care of your body. They tell you to bring your phone, make your dog comfortable, pick your time. It's all stuff to make the dog comfortable. Pick up dog poop. Bending over to pick up dog poop is not good. You're not supposed to bend over a lot when you're pregnant. It's not good for you. And if you can't walk your dog, hire a dog walker. This is the primary type of information that you will find if you look up, is it okay to walk a dog while I'm pregnant? They'll tell you, oh, just bring this for your dog, bring that for your dog, make your dog comfortable. They're not going to tell you about the risk of twisting and turning and being knocked over. Even this woman here, she's bending over to treat the dog. And she's putting herself in what looks like this knee is locked. Her body weight is way over the top of her hips. She doesn't need to do this. That food she's given her dog, she can just throw that food to the dog and the dog can get it. She doesn't need to do this little control freak kind of behavior. So what do you think? Can dog ownership cause a strong epigenetic force on the pregnant mom? I think it can. The posture, the way posture affects her hormones, all of the pet dander that the mom has to consume, the bending over to pick up dog poop, the picking up of the dog, allowing the dog to bebop and jump around on top of your pregnant body. All of those things will have a huge effect on your baby. And just as is said right here, it's caused by a single gene defect. So that's why I mentioned epigenetics in the beginning of this. Epigenetics is important for our health, and when we're taking on activities that affect epigenetics, we should be aware of it. So if you want to check my work, I'll put all these in the description. This one, is it safe to sleep with dogs while pregnant? Some information about epigenetics. I'll add some of these videos that I showed earlier, including some videos where pregnant mothers are videotaping themselves sleeping with dogs, which is very bad for your sleep cycle. This one will also be in the description. And of course, this video, and if you're interested in this childhood Alzheimer's thing, there's a lot of information out there about it. A lot of people's stories are starting to come to the surface. So thanks for watching. See you guys in the comments. Bye.